How you doing? Homestead Ed here. This morning my sister sent me a recipe for apple pie moonshine. It said the best apple pie moonshine. Now in reality, it's not a moonshine when you're done with this mixture. It's more of a drink. It seems like it'll have some kick to it, but it's just a nice drink for the holidays, and coming up on Thanksgiving and Christmas, I figured I'd give it a shot. So today I plan on making what we call a wash. This is the very first step to making moonshine. And I didn't want to go out shopping or anything, so I just looked down in the basement, grabbed some stuff together, and I put together some ingredients I'll need for this real simple wash that we're going to make today. So let's start off. What I have here is just 4 cups of regular table sugar. I got a 16-ounce jar of corn syrup. I've got some raisins, some regular old red yeast, and then this is my fermentation vessel. It's just a gallon jug that I drilled a hole in the cap. You may have seen this in other videos, and I put my airlock in it. We're going to mix this all together and we're going to make our wash. After I get this done, in a week or two, after it all ferments, I'll run this through the still and this will give us our shine. So I'm going to shut the camera off for a second, turn it back on, just show you some mixing things together and how you go about this. This is so simple and easy, you're going to enjoy it. Okay, so here I'm putting together a really simple syrup. And really all I'm doing is mixing up this sugar and the corn syrup and get a nice high sugar content into my wash here. So to do this, what I did is I took some of the water out of this vessel, poured it into a pot, and I'm slowly going to start mixing it into there. To do this, you're going to basically be bringing your water up to a boil just so you can get everything mixed up well. But very, very important, you want to, when you mix your yeast in with your wash, you want it to be like maybe the temperature of a baby's bath, you know, a little above room temperature, but not hot. If you mix it in when it's too hot, you're going to kill your yeast, and that's the end of it. It won't ferment, and it'll just make a mess of things. So I'm just getting this together, mixing this up, and that's why I left some water in there. After I'm done getting this all mixed up, I'm going to pour it back into that vessel, and that's going to help cool it down a bit. And then I'm going to wait until I have a decent, oh, got it a little too high here. But then I'm going to wait until I have it at a decent temperature before I mix my yeast. So we're just about done with this wash here. I've got my simple syrup made up, put into this little fermentation vessel, you could call it, and I'm ready to pitch my yeast. Now it's cooled down well, so we're ready to go. You might notice this little container here. I always like to activate, now lots of people will activate all of their yeast. I always like to activate some of it just so I can tell that the yeast is good and ready to go. So if this doesn't go, I know maybe I made a mistake on putting my wash together, pitched the yeast too hot. Generally what I do is at this point I will pitch some of my yeast directly into this vessel, and then I will add this. As far as activating your yeast, what you do is take some warm water, put it in a little cup or a little container like this, add a tiny bit of sugar, put your yeast in there and see what happens. And what should happen, you should notice within like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, it starts to bubble up and you get all this foam on the top like you can see here. That means the yeast is alive and going good. I don't really know why I don't just activate all my yeast and pour it in. It's just the way I like to do it. So what I'm going to do here is take a bit of this yeast and just pour it directly into this vessel. A little bit more. I'm using about 1/3 of the small container of yeast to do this. This is only a gallon what I'm putting together. I have two stills set up. I have a 1 gallon still and a 5 gallon still. So obviously what I'm doing today here is for the 1 gallon still. That'll do about maybe close to 2 pints, just under 2 pints of moonshine I'll get out of there. So I use my 1 gallon still a lot when I'm running through things and I want to see how they go. If this works out well, then I'll make a bigger batch. You could just take the recipe and, you know, times it by 5. We'll do a bigger batch, run it through, and hopefully I'll have some of this for Christmas time. Now this is really important. What I always like to add to my wash is some kind of fruit. Lots of times I'll do dried fruit. If I run this through again, I'll probably do like some dried apple slices in there or something. But today I didn't want to go out, so I just grabbed what I had laying around the house, and I had some raisins here. And raisins work very, very well for this. The reason for the fruit is to just give the yeast something else to chomp on, keep it nice and healthy. And I think that should be plenty of raisins. Let's just do this. We should be good with that. I'm going to add this activated yeast in there. Looking beautiful. And then the very last step to this, we put the cap on. I'm going to take my little, I call it a bubbler, but it's actually just going to fill this up with we stick that right on there. Penny shush. It's actually an air. I call it a bubbler, and the reason I do that is because when this yeast starts working, this will stop going. What this is, it's filled halfway up. I think that the mailman has to come. It's filled halfway up with water. And it just basically keeps contaminants from getting in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry about the dog. And keep watching.